Hey strangers, maybe I shouldn't say strangers because this video is targeted towards those who watch my how to get hired at LUSH, how was my trial shift, how was my hiring party. I felt like I started doing beauty videos because of LUSH and I want to thank LUSH for that. Just because I know that there's a few audiences that like LUSH related videos. So this is for those who thanked me for giving my tips and tricks on how to get hired on as a seasonal, but I kind of want to do a video to like a post video on how to get hired on rather than just being seasonal. So my first tip would be always come to work on time. My boyfriend told me, and I think it's such a great advice, is that if you arrive 5 minutes late, you are late. If you arrive 5 minutes early, you're on time. And what he means by that is I feel like it's so true, especially in the LUSH world, as you know, because if you get there right on time, that is not being on time because you had to take off your coat, you had to get ready, you had to put on your apron, get dirted in. And if you're in another country, I'm not sure if you guys call it that, but getting dirted in is when the floor leader actually waits for you to come in your shift and they talk to you about like what the sale goal is, what your goal is, how to pump you up. So you have to mentally prepare yourself when you go into LUSH, obviously, as you would with any job. But you know, girls or guys, any LUSH, you have to really be mentally prepared, okay? Because you're going to be talking to a lot of people, you're going to be expected to do demos, you're going to be expected to be on the floor, like get go, and sometimes you're not in the right mood. So the next tip is always be positive. And what I mean by that is being energetic, being a good team player, basically be this coworker that you would love to work with. That's what I truly mean. Because how would you feel if you went to work and you're like, hey, how are you doing? They're like, good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not very motivating if you work with downers. So just try to be positive and eventually you will feel happier by the time you leave work. And that's just the best feeling ever. So just be happy, be energetic, be ready to work. And what I mean by that is just obviously don't be annoying. Don't overly ask, like, oh, what should I do now? What should I do now? Just think to yourself for a bit and be like, okay, there's no downtime, so I'm gonna keep myself busy by, this is another tip. I'm not gonna be standing around doing nothing, wondering, okay, when's the next customer coming? But, clean tables while you're at it. Check if there's any demo bowls that need to be cleared off. If it's quiet downtime and you see people like your other coworkers at the door, clean those bowls. Another good one that people tend to forget is making sure things are like the label is shown the right way because they do have a thing about that. So that's another trick that I've been doing is I've always kept myself busy, but don't keep yourself too occupied with taking care of the store. Because if you're, today actually, I was told this, your body language should always be hips and lips to the door. So whenever somebody is needing, oh, excuse me, I'm having the hiccups. When somebody is needing your help, you're always present and you're ready for them. So another thing would be taking criticism well. I find like whenever you take something that somebody's told you, especially your floor leader, and you perform it, they like that. And also try to always be attentive, whether that be to your floor leader, telling them what's up, basically just taking their direction well. And I feel like if you're open to criticism, constructive criticism, they really like that. I also find like whenever there is downtime, if you try to talk to a floor leader and ask him about product knowledge, I feel like that's another bonus because they know in as a matter of fact that you're willing to help. Another thing would be always be available. So what I mean by that is whenever somebody calls in sick and the store calls you, always accept it if you can. I know there are days where it's the holiday season, you want to chill at home, you're just there as a seasonal thing, and you just want to chill at home because you're a day off. But take this shift because you never know if you want to be part of this work in the future. you have to be willing to be available and be reliable. So I know when I was seasonal last year, I was like, you know what? Yes, I had another job in line, but I kind of really want to stay permanent. So I accepted everybody's shift. I made sure that whenever I could, obviously, I didn't take every single shift, but I made sure that when I was just chilling at home, I'd be like, yes. And even if they called you and you can't make it, call them back and be like, I'm so sorry, I can't make it, because having an answer to something is better than having no answer. And this goes on for life too. I mean, you can't just expect somebody to feel a certain way. And like, what I'm trying to say is, imagine how you feel if somebody was mad at you and they never told you about it. Like, they never explained to you why they're mad at you, but for some reason they are. You know, it's just a food for thought, right? Let me try to think what else. What did I do? The thing is communicating with your teammates too. Like, it's one thing to communicate with your floor leaders about something, but to actually communicate with your coworkers is also another great thing as well, because it creates connections. And then if the manager asks them like, how, oh my god, like, how do you think she was like this shift, or how do you think she did today? Like, I don't know how it's gonna be like, because I don't know if the core staff goes into a meeting and talks about seasonals on who they should hire. I'll find out this year, who knows. But I find like you're representing yourself right now, and the reason why I'm doing this video is because I feel like you have some leisure time to bump up your game if you feel like you haven't been. Another thing is never make up stuff. And what I mean by that is when you're in the heat of the moment and you're thinking to your customer, oh yeah, it has this and this, it has this and this, but really it doesn't. Like today, I had a coworker, she was just like, yeah, none of our bath bombs have sea salt, I'm very sorry. And then I kind of jumped in, not in a way to be rude or like, oh hey, I know everything. I was just more like, oh actually, did you talk to her about Big Blue? I think that one has sea salt. I know it has sea salt, but I said I think because I didn't want her to feel like, oh, she's taking over or anything. So in a way, she then was like, oh yeah, it does. And, you know, just help each other out. So if you're unsure about something, always ask another coworker or ask a floor leader rather than saying no, because in a business, you never really want to say no to somebody unless you know for sure they're like nothing's there. Like, is there any candles at Lush, or is there any essential oils, like just the oil at Lush? Closest thing would be a perfume, but I'm not here to talk about that. So another tip would be, if they ask you to stay later, take it. That's also like taking a shift. Just stay later if they ask you, because they'll be like, wow, she's a good worker, we should keep her, right? So another thing is, if you have another primary job, so let's say you have a permanent job plus Lush, I feel like that's a very iffy subject, because if you are, let's say, if you had a primary job that you love and Lush is your seasonal, I feel like you should still respect your primary job because they're the ones who had you first, but be honest with Lush too about your availability. You know what I mean? Just to kind of avoid the whole conflict, because that's what happened with me. I had a huge conflict going on until I told Lush. I was like, hey, like, I'm sorry, I'm only available these dates, that's it. And then after that, things were fine. I was in a happier mood, my anxiety was not as bad. So you know what I mean, like, just be honest. But if you have if you have another job but you want Lush to be your primary, then talk to your other job and be like, look, like, you know, I'm not available these dates anymore, I'm very sorry, but, you know, just obviously you can be like, oh, I want to go to Lush next, right? But just kind of be equal to both places. Now, this is a rare thing, but I know of some seasonals who work two jobs and they always come to me saying how, like, you know, it's very stressful, how do they balance it? But I feel like Lush is so flexible that they will understand most of the time. But I feel like if you are planning to pursue Lush more as a career rather than your previous job, then for sure prioritize Lush all you want, but be fair with your other job. That's what I'm trying to say. Did I talk about taking constructive criticism? Well, yes. Take samples when you can. That shows that you're curious about a product. Always talk to, whenever there's downtime, always talk to the manager. Like, asking them like just questions about like the values or anything like that, and just doing homework outside of work too. I find like they notice when you're actually really passionate about Lush. So I think that is all my advice. When it was the last few days, I felt like the competition for getting the permanent job was a lot harder. I could tell people were putting their A game up, so I thought, you know what am I good at? So I thought, you know what, I used to work at freaking yogurties and like food places, and they always taught me make sure everything looks clean and spotless and sanitary. So that's why I started, wiping tables down, making sure bowls were clean, making sure the sample pots and any popsicle sticks or trash was taken care of. And yeah, basically that's about it. Hopefully this helped you guys somehow, and I hope that I didn't ramble on, but I just really wanted to help out those who are like, okay, she has a video on trial shift, she has a video of the hiring party, but how about a video of how to get hired on? So that's just my advice. If I have any other advice, I will for sure write them in the description box if you're interested. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope that it's really helped you. I wish nothing but the bestest of luck to all of you guys. And another thing is, if they do decide to ask you to reapply again and for you to do another cover letter, which is what they did for me, talk about not what you will bring to the team, but what you brought. Like, talk about like what you did in this past season and why those actions that you just showed them is a fact that they should keep you on. Because if you go, oh, I think that I will be a great asset because I'm going to be a team helper, no. You have to say, I am a team helper. I felt like you know what I mean? Like, talk about the present. Talk about what you did in the past couple days before Christmas. Why should you be hired on? Ask yourself that. So I wish everybody the bestest of luck. I really hope I see comments down below saying, oh my god, I got hired on, because you don't know how happy I get when I see people commenting saying that I give good advice, that they were happy that they watched my videos. So yeah, much love to you guys. Hopefully this helped you out, and I will see you guys in a later video. Happy holidays.